A new sun has dawned on Serendia, and the old lion has no choice but to leave his nest. After King Antonio forced his father to kneel before him, Crucio left Heidel and went to Fort Eindhovein to live with his second son. Prince Sergio, however, was quite the ambitious character. During his father's sudden proposal to vacate his seat, he had attempted a plan to win his father's favor, yet the crown had gone to his older brother, Antonio. But Sergio did not mourn for this loss. Fort Eindhovein that was bestowed onto him was the most appropriate place to amass his forces while biding his time. As soon as he was appointed, Sergio began rearing an army, for an opportunity would come knocking, the one chance to reclaim the misplaced crown to its rightful owner. And that moment that Sergio had been preparing for had finally arrived. Sergio already heard the news through his spy in Heidel, for he had also been encouraging his father Crucio, still lost in reminiscing the days of past glory, to reaffirm his authority by challenging the new king. Sergio's plan led to King Antonio's anger, driving their father to Sergio's arm. And as part of this plan, Sergio refused to open his gates to his father. He emerged from the gates, coldly stating, "If you had only bestowed the crown onto me, father, you wouldn't be enduring such humiliation. Alas, the crown is currently propped on my brother's head, and I dare not disobey my king's wishes. You must sow what you alone had reaped, father." The once king's heart was broken a second time. Crucio's former court jester, who would later mention Crucio, appeared to have aged for almost 10 years on that day. Crucio sat aghast, sobbing profusely. He slowly got back on his horse and turned in the direction towards Glish, with hopes to settle with his exiled son. What awaited Crucio in front of the village of Glish was not his kind, youngest son Vittorio, who had no ambition for the throne and only sought to provide him wise counsel. It was King Antonio, filled with furious anger, who had raced over with his soldiers. But this too was part of Sergio's plan. As soon as Crucio had left Heidel, Sergio made Jardine, who had already infiltrated the social circles of Heidel, to spread the rumor that Crucio seeks to reclaim the throne with Sergio's army. Upon reaching his ears, King Antonio was enraged and led his personal guard to stop Crucio himself. Antonio declared,
"Father, today is the day I cut all ties between us. You shame me, your own son and king, in front of my men, and now you seek to reclaim the crown? Perhaps you will respect me as king when I get rid of your head, thus having nowhere to place a crown."
and charged. Nevertheless, alas, it was Antonio's head that fell to the ground. Sergio had hidden Edward Rondi within Crucio's guards. Edward vanished before anyone could realize his presence, and word quickly spread throughout Serendia that Crucio had murdered his own son in a desperate grab for power. With Antonio's lifeless body in his arms, Crucio wept for what seemed like eternity, then retreated to the wilderness. Now, it was Sergio's turn to ascend to the throne. Queen Roxanne was surprisingly calm for someone who could be forced to forfeit her crown and be executed as part of the opposing party to the new king-to-be. However, she had her own cards up her sleeve. Just as she had resolved the banquet prior, Roxanne traveled to Sergio's land to seduce Jardine. Once she had him filled with wine, Jardine confessed to her that he was afraid his adopted father Edward was not walking a righteous path. Suspicious, Roxanne made sure Edward was followed, and witnessed Antonio's falling to Edward's sword. Roxanne asked Sergio for a private audience. There she revealed her knowledge, stating that she knew what Edward Rundi had done in the behest of the second prince. She told Sergio to take her as a queen, else everyone will know of what he has done. As Sergio was only so obsessed with acquiring the crown, he did not linger long. He immediately commanded Edward to poison Alicia. Edward protested, saying that assassinating the younger sister of the King of Calphion would only further complicate their relations. However, completely fallen to Roxanne's spell, Sergio had Edward's eyes gouged and cast him out to wander the streets for disobeying the new king's order. Then he pushed Alicia off a tower himself, staging suicide. Not long after ascending the throne, Sergio took Roxanne as his next queen. Thus, Roxanne came to secure both the role of a queen and Jordine's lover in one fell swoop. Wandering through the wilderness, Crucio found himself on the western front. Horrified by the sight of the haggard former king, Johann Cliff divided his frontline troops and decided to go against the newly crowned Sergio. Crucio's third son, Vittorio, had heard the tragic news and joined Cliff's army along with the rest of Crucio's forces in grief. And to take up the newly vacant position previously occupied by Cliff was none other than Frederick Ducas, who, while having been stripped of the rank and demoted to a lowly foot soldier, had risen the ranks quickly due to his exceptional talent. Soon, Cliff's army began to siege of Heidel Castle. While the castle fortifications remained impregnable due to being built on higher ground, the issue lay with its inhabitants. Sergio lacked the people's trust for having stolen the crown by murdering his own brother. Thus, many were still loyal to Crucio, the benevolent ruler, and Cliff, the renowned general. The stalemate of the siege was broken when Crucio's spy unlocked the rear gates, and the civil war continued into a bloody massacre. Having already lost his eldest son to the civil war, Crucio could not bear to kill his second son Sergio despite his burning hatred. And so, before setting off towards Heidel, Crucio pleaded with Cliff.
General, Sergio has treated me with disdain and stole the crown from his own brother by having him killed. And yet, he is still my son. Cut off his limbs if you must, but for my sake, I pray you spare his life.
The old and loyal general promised he would. Sergio continued to provoke and enrage Cliff's forces, while Cliff mercilessly pursued Sergio's forces. Sergio took a gruesome last stand, where he cut through many of Cliff's soldiers. Soon, only Sergio stood by his throne. In that final moment, Vittorio stepped forward to try and persuade his brother. Sergio responded by charging at him. Cliff tried to intervene and his sword found Sergio's heart, while Sergio's blade made a clean work of Vittorio's neck. Having now lost all his sons, Crucio was crushed. The heavens had abandoned Crucio once more. Now, the former Old Lion of Heidel has truly lost all desire to live, nor did have any energy to end it all. And with no ruler in the land of lions, the dark days of Serendia still continued.
Yes, some things never change, like how I'm holding on tight to you.